Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, comics we want to read, and everything in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today, we have finally, I think, read, we're gonna discuss Teen Titans.
Teen Titan.
You may have heard of it from the show, the Teen Titans, the animated show, but this is not that show.
Nope.
And and this was from the 80s, and this story arc's called the Judas Contract.
Teen Titan.
Yeah, John's just gonna do that every time, and so. And I will kind of spoil this beforehand before we get ratings and whatnot. I think this is our worst comic we've read so far. What do you think, John?
Teen Titan. I'll tell you why I keep doing that too, is partially because I actually, before reading this too, my knowledge of the Teen Titans is very limited. Like, I didn't even watch the show that much.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah, let's read Teen Titans. I'm curious, like, it'll be cool. And you're like, yeah, this is supposed to be one of the best stories. I know it was like, oh, didn't they just put out like a movie, animated version of this more recently?
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this will be cool.
It was not cool. It was not cool at all.
Yeah.
Um,
there are some cool elements and there are some fun panels.
Sure, there's some stuff you could pull out to make a cool movie like they did. But for the most part, it's just a lot of talking and a lot of training and a lot of stuff I don't give a shit about. On top of things that are very cool and like interesting, like, I don't know, the whole origin of Nightwing and stuff and whatnot. So,
yeah, that's probably what this one is like.
Known for?
The coolest for, right? It's like,
I think people were actually, when it came out, surprised by the twist. Or not, it wasn't a twist, but like they wanted to see what the Teen Titans would do with the twist that we know as the audience is occurring. And then also the whole Nightwing aspect of it was like, what? This is like gigantic, because now there's not Robin or whatever. So I think that was like why people think this is the best story ever. And it is not the best story ever. Hopefully not the best Teen Titans story ever, because this was dog shit as far as story goes. I'm serious. Like, this was, I fell asleep multiple times reading this. I was forcing myself to read it. I had to skip fucking pages of this thing. When I would see, like, it's just people talking about stupid shit that don't matter, I would skip a page. I'd be like, okay, they're just training. Skip a page, like because it was impossible to get through this thing. It took me like 4 hours to read a 7-issue comic, which was ridiculous. But I will say this: if you just want to read the Judas Contract, don't buy the trade. The trade has 7 issues, 3 of which are garbage that don't need to be
away.
Yes, the 3 setup issues before the Judas Contract story arc are bullshit, and they don't need to be in it, and I'm very mad that they are in it because they are the most boring parts of it. But
yeah, like, there's only one reason that they could possibly be there, and
there's like 3 reasons. They're bad reasons, but they're
it's not good enough to really include them, to be honest.
Yeah,
they could have easily had started off and like just had like a little like boop 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 of like those couple things.
Yeah, just like, hey, by the way, here's catching up these things. Just have like a character mention like, oh, this and that. It would have been way easier than me having to read 3 bullshit issues that don't matter.
Exactly.
So, okay, like we said, this is early Teen Titans. This is actually the new Teen Titans, which started in 1980. It was like the revamp of them. And this specific story arc is from 1984. It is written by Marv Wolfman, who I've heard is a good writer, although this does not bode well for him in my mind. But that I've heard he wrote good stuff. I mean, he did. Actually, that's not true. I've read something of his that is good. Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, okay.
He wrote that. So, and that's a good story arc. He's definitely like an older writer, but, I expect that somewhat. But this just didn't make sense at all in a lot of spots. And then also there was some questionable things with children in this. So,
yeah.
It was
so, again, this group is the Teen Titans. So, what we're talking like.
So, I'm assuming 13 to 19 is the age range of all these people.
And like, so the people have been there longest, like Cyborg and
Nightwing.
Dick Grayson, Nightwing, and like,
or actually Robin,
yeah, and Starfire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Okay, so they're probably like right at the edge of that, maybe entering into 20s.
Yeah.
But
everybody else is like underage. They're all like 15,
and
16
we
maybe.
will get into some very like I thought these are children basically.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah, what is happening? So, the artist on this was George Perez, who we recently read one of his story arcs, which was Infinity Gauntlet. He did the art for that, or at least the first half of that. So the art is good for the most part. There's some other stuff in the art that I was like, why does he draw her like this? But it was consistent. So I guess that's just his character model for that character, which I thought was a bad character model, but whatever. The DC maybe had him draw her like that on purpose. I don't know. But so the Judas Contract is actually only 4 issues. And if you just read that, it would probably be higher rated from me. But we read all 7, and they all do tie together, so that's like their fault for putting that in this trade for our grading purposes. But in this, if you don't know, the Teen Titans are all kind of like the either kid versions of established characters. So you have like Aqualad, or instead of Aquaman, you have Kid Flash instead of Flash. You have Wonder Girl instead of Wonder Woman. So these are those characters. They're like children, or just about young adults, I guess, or whatever. And so the lineup is Robin, Cyborg, Kid Flash, Wonder Girl, Raven, Starfire, Beast Boy, and a new one called Terra. And this is like kind of Terra's introduction. So we're talking about these first 3 issues that are the introduction issues. It's basically the only reason these need to be in here is it introduces Terra to us as a reader. It introduces the idea that she's actually working for someone called the Terminator, who I didn't know why they were calling him the Terminator, because he has a totally different name and everything else I've ever read. He's got 3 fucking names in the future that we read him now as, but now he's not called that. He's called the Terminator. And that is, the person originally was called Deathstroke, I thought, but in this he's called Terminator until the last issue. Now he's also called Slade. So there's like 3 names he could be called, and it was very confusing at first. So I'm like, who the fuck is Terminator? Isn't that the guy we thought was Deathstroke? But I guess he's the Terminator in this. I don't know. It's weird. And then the other reasons why this needed to be in here, I guess, or why they thought they would add it to this, is because this is the story arc where these 3 issues are where it introduces Robin giving up his mantle as Robin. So he's going to just be Dick Grayson for a while until he comes up with his new name. And then Kid Flash is retiring. So he's like, I'm going to retire from the Titans, guys. So yeah, it was funny when he retires. He's like, hey, everybody, this is my last mission. I just want a big announcement. And then like right as he's doing his announcement, Dick Grayson's like, oh, by the way, I know I'm Robin, but I'm not going to be Robin either anymore. And he like totally steals the thunder from Kid Flash, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, there's even the thought bubble, because everybody's like, oh, that's sorry, sad, Kid Flash will miss you. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be Robin anymore. And they're like, what? You're leaving? What's going on, Robin?
Yeah, and also Dick Grayson kind of did it on, like, in a dick move way, because he's like, he's not just saying like, oh, and by the way, I'm not going to be Robin. He's like, and also I've come up with a big thing that I'm going to do, and you must listen to every word I say as I slowly take off my Robin costume. And then like all the girls are like, ooh, take it off. And then like he's like, there will be no stripping, as he strips out of his costume.
Yeah, down to his like little green under leotard.
No, this is like,
that shows.
This is literally like a women's bodysuit that like would snap between her legs or whatever. Like, this is one of those, but Robin's in it. It was ridiculous. You could see all his bulges, all of them. And like, he's like, there will be no stripping, while he takes off all his clothes only to reveal this one little onesie that's green. And then he like gives everybody a hug with his bulges. And then
Kid Flash is like, oh man, they're all really all care about him. I guess they don't care about me, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of disappears.
He's all salty, and then he's never in it again. So it was weird that they did that and how they did that.
Somebody did not like Kid Flash.
Yeah, apparently. And then and then Dick Grayson's dating like Starfire in this, and I guess if you've seen Starfire in the TV show, she's dumb in that, right? She's kind of like ditzy, but it feels more like how it's supposed to be like that because she's younger in like the cartoon. Like they're all the same age in the cartoon, right? So they're all like, let's say 13. And in this, she's like dating Dick Grayson, and they're obviously like fucking, or like really seems like it because they're like all over each other. So I'm gonna say that they're 19, and she is dumb as shit. Like she is like, what's that up there? Oh, that's the sky. Like, you know, like she is pretty stupid. Although she's really powerful, and they make sure they show her like when fights, she's always like blasting people.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah, but also then I found out her name is Coriander.
Kor.
Yeah, so it's like not spelled the same as the spice you might know as cilantro or the lettuce or whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, like sounds like coriander, which is ridiculous that her name is Coriander. This is almost Dragon Ball Z level ridiculous. Like, what's her name? Kakarot? Carrot? What is it? What is this? You know? So, but yeah, and then we should just go through. Basically, the story is this. I'm just going to tell the story while we're talking because I don't want to go through beat by beat of this because it's not a good story. But basically, the plot of this is there's a new Teen Titan named Terra. She can control the Earth. She is young. She is 15, I think, when this starts and becomes 16 through it. And she is actually working for the Terminator, who is actually Deathstroke or Slade, you may know him as. And we find out later that his name is actually Deathstroke the Terminator, which is why I guess later he goes by Deathstroke, but now he's going by the Terminator. So it's a weird name.
Too many names.
Too many names, dude. Pick one. All right. And then he has a contract. He's taken up the mantle of a contract from his son, who apparently was an assassin. His first son. So his first son was an assassin, I guess, who failed in capturing the Teen Titans. He had a contract with some group of people called the Hive. And I will say this, the Hive is a stupid name that means...
Oh, yeah, because it's an
It's an acronym, of course, because what else would it be? And it's the Hive means the hierarchy for international vengeance and extermination. This is a stupid fucking name, and I've never heard of these people, and I think that they are just made up for this one thing. So, but yeah, so his first son had a contract to kill the Teen Titans, or I guess bring them to them so that they could kill the Teen Titans. And he failed. So then Slade took that contract up, or I'll say Terminator took that up, and he takes it up and he uses this new, or I guess he like got Terra before she was in the Teen Titans, and uses her to smuggle her way into the Teen Titans by like being like, "Hey guys, I'm a new power person," and they make her fucking evil as shit. Like she is very like, I'm really fake and nice like all the time in the Teen Titans, and then you buy it, and then when she's back with Terminator, she's like, I fucking hate those guys, and she's smoking.
Them all.
Yeah, it's weird. And so she's like a sociopath, they say multiple times. So she's like full on serial killer, basically. She doesn't have any emotions or feelings. And then
and when she's with the panels where she's with Slade talking with him, she is dressed far too scantily for a 15, 16-year-old.
We're going to talk about this.
Okay.
She's 15, and she's in Terminator or Slade or whoever the fuck, whatever you want to call him. She's in Deathstroke's house, like showing how stupid the Teen Titans are, talking about them. And what she does is she like wears contacts when she's with them that can transmit video. So Slade can see all of what they do, like when they train or what they're doing or the arguments they're having or what their secret identities are now.
He can learn everything about them.
Yeah. So he knows like a lot of their secret identities now. He knows, obviously Robin's Dick Grayson. Like we said, she was there when he revealed his true identity.
His manhood.
His manhood, yeah. They could see if he was circumcised or not in that thing. But yeah, so yeah, like she's with him, but when she's introduced as being with Deathstroke, she's in a bathrobe, like a short bathrobe that is not tightly tied. So you could see cleavage, you could see open, like it's just, and I'm like, wait, she's a teen Titan, right?
Teen
like
Titan. Again,
emphasis on the teen. Like she's supposed to be 15, I think, in these first 3 issues, and they never say like they're fucking, but Deathstroke is gray. He is an older man. He is 55 or something in this. It is weird as shit, and like, I mean, I guess he's a bad guy, so we're not supposed to be super surprised about that necessarily, but
Still.
they don't really go into, obviously, because, you know, it would be problematic to have him actually be like in bed with her or something in a comic, because this was during like comic code times anyway. But they definitely say later on, like, because I was like, is she sleeping with him or is she just wearing inappropriate shit around this guy? And then they never say like, oh, my love or anything like that to each other until the very end of the whole like Judas Contract story arc, where she calls him her lover. So
You're like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, I guess they did fuck. So it was very weird, very creepy. Thoughts, John? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's why I was bringing it up. It was just like, she's her normal outfit. She's got a, you know, big mask over her eyes, and she's, you know, kind of got a leotardy thing on. And then, yeah, like the next panel when she's with Slade, it's like, whoa, I thought, again, Teen Titan. What is going on here?
What is happening?
So, and like most of the Teen Titans are drawn. Now, you said that they've been a little more scandalous, but being this is
no,
like,
I'm saying not them. I'm saying Starfire has been drawn more scantily clad in the future.
For being Teen Titans, again, they were all all the females were fairly curvy.
Well, no, I would say Diana Troy, or no, Donna Troy is, no, Wonder Girl, whatever her name is. Wonder Girl is in a like a jumpsuit, so she's not like really showing anything. I guess you could say she's drawn curvy,
No,
but she's a
curvy.
woman or whatever.
Yeah, well, okay, but Starfire for sure, like,
yeah, but Starfire is supposed to be like a space alien who's 19-ish, I'm thinking. So, well, I mean, they don't say what her age is, but in Earth years, she might be 4. I don't know. So, because she's pretty dumb. So, but in this, she's dating Dick Grayson. They're, like I said, they're obviously in a adult relationship. Yeah. So, they're definitely in the higher end. So, that I give a pass because, you know, while she's in the Teen Titans, that could be 19, obviously. So,
okay, well then let's talk about the other, like,
well, Raven's not drawn.
No, that's true.
Raven, I will say this. You know what? Everything you're about to say about people drawn sexually, I will say, hey, yeah, but he drew Raven like she was an 85-year-old woman. So I'm gonna push back on your scantily cladness with, well, yeah, well, George Perez basically pulled, like, I don't know if you've seen the show Strangers with Candy, John, but it is like about a woman who is like, I don't know, 55, 60, who is a journalist, I think, and she tries to go back in high school to write a paper about, or to write like an article about something. So but she doesn't do any like work or mask work or anything to look younger. She just wears hip clothes and is a 65-year-old woman. And it was like that. Raven looked, and this was on model for him, I guess, because every panel was consistent. Raven looked like a 65, 85, whatever, however old you want woman. She looked terrible. I was like, what is it? Like, she had smooth skin or whatever, but like, just she had like a giant widow's peak. Look, like she was going bald, like not John McCain, like John McClane. That's what I was gonna say. In like Die Hard 3, we're like, whoa, that is a widow's peak, dude. You should just shave that shit. It was just like, like Bruce Willis style. She had the giant widow's peak. Her face was not attractive at all. So just, hey, why don't you just keep that hood over your face all the time, Raven? Like, that's basically what George Perez should have done the whole time. But who else did you think he drew sexily?
Well, I thought, especially, so like they're like doing training stuff later, and when Starfire and Wonder Girl are fighting, like,
Oh, they fall in water.
Then they fall in water, and then they're all
but they don't show like they're just like we're wet, but they don't show like tits or anything in the water.
No, I guess, but Starfire also does like a bikini shoot of something.
True.
Like a magazine or something.
I mean, okay. So we'll say this. They definitely, because it's a teen series, push sex more.
Yes.
People are in relationships and it's dramatic. And some of them are old enough to have sexual relationships, and some of them should not be having sexual relationships with other Teen Titan members. And so.
Well, then you also, as far as like sexually driven things in this, you also got to talk about Beast Boy.
Beast Boy, who is a beast. You could say.
I guess, yeah. That's in his name, I guess.
He's a bit rapey in this, right, John?
I mean, if anything, if he's a teen, you're like, okay, so maybe his hormones are raging, and he just like, oh, like I just want a girl to like me, like like oh God, I should look away from her boobs, but she got boobs, or like I mean,
he doesn't have that inner conflict in his head, though.
No.
They go out saying everybody else has, thought bubbles and shit, but they never once have him be like, man, I want to look at her boobs, but I shouldn't because that's the wrong thing to do or something, because they probably couldn't say that. But, they definitely go out of their way to show him as a dog looking up Starfire's skirt.
Well, okay, so it's not an inner conflict for him. He's just, maybe because he is all of these creatures as well, his hormones are really just crazy.
Yeah, maybe he's just got the animal in him.
The animal instinct.
Yeah.
Either way, it's very much like, oh, yeah, like he's all over the place with that. And especially with, he kind of is like crushing on Terra.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, man, Terra, I really like her.
And he like harasses the shit out of her. And
hey, you want to kiss me? We're going to kiss?
Yeah, hey, you want to have a kiss? He was like the awkward guy who's like, why don't we all go skinny dipping? I mean, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't go skinny dipping. But if you guys want to.
If you guys want to.
I'll go skinny dipping. So, he was totally like just the guy that would throw out weird jokes that you're like, no, man, like, we're not going to,
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
I
mean, I'm just kidding.
How about a blowjob? I mean, no, I'm just joking. Unless you're serious. Are you sure? No? Okay, no, never mind. I'm just kidding too. So, yeah, there was just a weird, I don't know, like, he was rapey, but he's supposed to be younger, I feel. Like, him and Terra, I think, are the youngest people on this team.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like Wally West, who was the Kid Flash, I feel like he didn't like retire. Like he looked like he was old in this. Like he had like almost a beard or whatever. Like I'm like, all right, bro, yeah, you probably shouldn't be in the Teen Titans anymore. It's like when you're old enough to grow a full beard, you should. That's how you know you're not supposed to be in the Teen Titans anymore. But I just felt like that was funny. Yeah. So. There was definitely some questionable situations between teens in this. I do feel like, I mean, if you're gonna have Teen Titans have relationships, they did okay in the actual group. So you have Starfire and you have Dick Grayson. So they're the oldest ones. They're allowed to be together. Then you have Beast Boy and Terra. They get together and they're the youngest, so they're at least under. They're like, oh, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever. They don't do anything worse than kissing or anything, so it's okay, that seemed to be fine for the comics code or whatever back then. No questionable things there. Although she does ride him when he's an animal
in the group, and then when she goes to see Slade, then she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna put on this robe. Excuse me."
Oh yeah. But I mean, in the Teen Titans themselves, yes. Then and I guess Cyborg's like, I got a robot dick. I can't do anything, and then he has no relationships. And then Raven's just like, I'm only caring about the goth dark world or whatever. So I'm also 85.
Yeah, she for the most part, it seemed like she was battling. There's definitely more to her story. From what I could tell, is that she's battling some kind of inner demons of her own, and she's not really like she's there when she fights with the group, and then otherwise she's meditating her off on her own for the most part.
Right.
Except she apparently realized that there was some kind of evil within Terra at some point, but
then they didn't ever reveal it. She never found it out until she already revealed herself. Yeah. So I was it would have been cooler if she knew and then she did something to make her come out.
Aha!
Yeah. No. But so anyway, back to the why is it, what is the Judas Contract about? So Slade, like we said, took up the mantle. He established Terra as a Teen Titan so she could be his spy. And then
she's the Judas.
She is the Judas that is part of this contract that he's acquired. so he's using her to get them to where he wants for the hive, and basically he uses all the information that he got from the camera. So like where they live, what their secret identities are, what they do for fun. Like, oh, Wonder Girl likes to develop film, and apparently Cyborg likes to sit in this one chair and read a newspaper. And there's some funny ones where you're like, really? That's how you get it? And also, Beast Boy's one was funny, but basically he comes up with ways to capture all of them in their own place where they're not like on guard or anything. And so the first one he does is he tries to kidnap Dick Grayson. That doesn't go well. Dick Grayson gets away.
Yeah.
And so then now Dick Grayson knows, I know he's after all of us or whatever, and somehow he knows our secret identities. So Slade or Terminator, whatever the fuck you want to call him, Terminator goes after the other people, and he's like Robin, but Dick Grayson is like behind him one step every time. So and this was like the only cool part of the comic, I thought, because like Dick Grayson, one, he hooks up, like there's someone following the Terminator, and Dick Grayson sees it, and then she this woman and this boy that's with her, a young man, kind of team up with Dick Grayson. But we find out that that's like actually Slade's or Terminator's wife and second child. So it's weird, like family stuff going on there. But so we have Dick Grayson following behind Terminator after he's kidnapped every other one of the Teen Titans. So we see how they got kidnapped, because Dick comes and he's like, I will use my detective skills to find out what happened.
Yeah.
And then we see. So what was the first one? Who's the first one that got kidnapped?
It's Starfire. She gets like some kind of fake gift that says it's from Dick.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
it. Like explodes and like kind of, I guess, overpowers her or something.
I like this. It's like, I guess she can sense electricity or something, because she like she's like, oh, it's a gift from Dick. And then like she's like, it says she ignored the like tingling sensation in her fingers, and then she's like, oh, what did he get me? And then it explodes, and I don't know what it did to her, but it looked like it was really painful.
Yeah.
And like I would assume it would have killed her, but apparently it just incapacitated her. And then she lives with Wonder Girl, and so the second one was like he goes into like a room like they have to develop film.
Dark room.
Yeah, there you go. That's the room. It's called Dark Room. And he finds a dark room that Wonder Girl uses for film. And then he like finds a bottle of some, chemical, and
it's the chemical that you use. It brings out the photo, and well, that's what it's supposed to be. But I guess apparently when you mix it, then it creates like some kind of knockout gas.
Well, he switched the chemical, so it was not supposed to be that chemical. When it was sulfuric acid or something. You think she would notice? I don't know if you ever smelled sulfuric acid, but it smells very sulfury. It's not very much, not easy, or it's pretty easy to figure out what it is. But anyway, so he's like, oh yes, I deduced this is what happened to them. And then my favorite one, I have two favorite ones. Like I said, Cyborg apparently likes to sit in this one chair every day, this one small wooden chair, and read a paper. So he goes to this house, and we see apparently Cyborg read a paper, and then these like metal bands came out of the chair, to which I was like, where the fuck are those being hid? This chair has like no meat to it or anything. There's no like extra space to put anything. So, but whatever. Apparently, Deathstroke is a master furniture maker, and like Rube Goldberg engineer or whatever.
Yeah, what he was also doing in his time was crafting an exact replica of his favorite
of
chair,
that chair,
but with these metal parts inside.
When he wasn't fucking Terra, while she was on her missions, he was building this chair with much care.
I learned how to make these chairs from when I lived with the Amish. And also, yes. I'm going to incorporate these electronics that will shock.
Yeah, they will electrocute. They will not only lock him into the chair, but they will electrocute him. And they're strong enough to like hold him down and everything. He's a cyborg, whatever. So I thought that was funny that they're like the way to capture him wasn't to trick him or anything. It was just, I'm going to make your chair, like hold you down or whatever. And then the other one I thought was funny was Beast Boy. So Beast Boy apparently, like we said, he's the youngest guy. I think he's also an idiot, and so the way that he got him was, I guess, vanity, because some woman walks in. This woman who like holds him or hands him like the pictures to sign. She is wearing like the Animaniacs nurse outfit almost.
Yeah.
She had like fishnets. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, who is this? And like, why is this person handing like, hi, Mr. Beast Boy.
Get Beast Boy's attention.
Mr.
Apparently.
Beast Boy, I have your pictures ready or whatever to sign. And so like she hands him, like his autograph pictures to sign. He's autographing them, and then he's supposed to like send them out or put them in the envelopes. And to which I'm like, isn't this her job? Like I get the signing is his job, but why is he licking the envelopes too? But basically, he drugged the envelopes that Beast Boy licks, and after he licks like 40 of them, he's like, I'm feeling woozy, and then he like falls asleep. So that's how they capture the Teen Titans. It's only like Starfire and Wonder Girls make like any kind of real sense, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, Dick gets back to the Titans Tower, and like he sees like these rock formations through, and he's like, oh, they got Terra and Raven, because it like goes into Raven's area too.
Yeah, and then we get the reveal that that's where we find out that the woman and the kid, the young man that were like with Dick Grayson or following him, they are the Terminator's ex-wife and kid, or second kid, I guess. And he looks like, and I'm sorry to say this, John. Actually, you feel flattered. John Johnson. If John Johnson was a superhero in a book, he would look just like this character, who is apparently later on the Teen Titan Jericho for everybody. And John Johnson's got a big full beard, got a big bushy head of it's not blonde, but it could be blonde if you wanted it to be. Yeah, and so I thought that was funny. I was reading it, I'm like, this looks like John Johnson. But yeah, so that kid is going to be Jericho, and he teams up with Dick Grayson. They're like, we got to save the Teen Titans. And then Dick Grayson's like, hold on a second. I got to do something first. And then we get this big reveal of him as the first time as Nightwing. And he's coming down the stairs strutting his stuff in his speed suit that is blue and has a giant disco collar. It is amazing. What do you think of that suit, John?
So I get it. Like it's.
Had you seen that suit before?
No, I hadn't.
Oh wow!
So it was fun. I like the gigantic collar. It was very like kind of like some of those older like 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, it was a jumpsuit from the 80s, but with a giant like upturned collar.
A giant collar.
Yeah, like you could catch water in
and
it.
Like and like the baby blues in it.
Yes.
Were like so soft and light, and it was an interesting color.
I want to know who. I guess George Perez designed that costume. George Perez did a couple bad things in this, and I'll say that costume is light now because it's funny. But at the time, if I had been reading this at the time, I'd be like, "What the fuck is that? What kind of cool in quotation marks costume is that?"
For revealing it, I was surprised that he didn't get like his own full page.
This was bullshit.
Because it's like. So he's like, I'll be right back, and then it's like, bam, I am Nightwing, and the way they draw Nightwing lettering, like it's when his new
that's the official font
or whatever, yeah. And then the other guy's like,
actually, he didn't have his own comic till the 90s. This was like he was only in Teen Titans as Nightwing for a while. Yeah,
okay, I didn't know that. But then like the page then splits, and then the one thing we haven't really said yet is that the mom and the son. That are helping. The son hasn't talked at all. He doesn't talk. He's mute. We don't really know why quite yet, but she's like.
They say it's because of the dad. Like the dad did it to him.
But she's like, well, he's actually got powers too. I present to you Jericho.
Yeah, and he's got a better costume, I feel. But he has a very like fluffy head and fluffy beard, and it's amazing. It's super blonde.
Why? Jericho.
Yeah, I was talking to John about this before. I'm like, okay, Jericho. It's a reference to a Bible story, which is weird if you're not gonna be like, okay, if when I think of Jericho, I think shouting, because that's like they shout and then the walls crumble.
Yeah.
So either shouting and you like Black Canary or something, you'd have the power of voice loudness or something. Or
you said that, and I said like, okay, he doesn't talk. I was like, maybe it's gonna be like either a telepathy kind of thing where he talks inside people's heads, or maybe he can talk through people, something like that. And technically, he does something through people, but it's not talking. So it was weird. And then you told me that his power is like not
already
even
a power from someone.
Yeah. So
this is very much a like I don't know if no, this was an original creation. So both of these are original DC creations, so they shouldn't be like having the same power. The only time you have like crossover powers is when like with Plastic Man was made in the 30s before DC owned it. And then DC made, what's his name?
Elastic Man?
Yeah, Elastic Man. So then it's like, okay, that's why those two are together or whatever, because they would never make a same superhero, but they bought it and now they have it, so they're like, whatever. They both have Fantastic Four style powers or whatever, for the Reed Richard powers. But for some reason, they actually made a character, Jericho, have the same powers as Deadman, except Jericho's alive. So with Deadman, he can possess a body and like take it over and be like, hey, Bets, I'm this guy over here. Let's go solve a mystery. And then like, I think he can only stay in it for a certain amount of time or something like that, but I can't remember exactly. But so like that guy has a power, and this was, I think 77 is when that character was made.
Oh wow, so definitely before.
I think maybe I'm wrong. Jericho might have been first, actually, now that I'm thinking about this. Maybe this is why they made two, because I don't know. I'd never heard of Jericho before this moment, so maybe he doesn't last that long, and they're like, oh, we could just reuse that power.
Maybe.
But, okay, maybe this is the problem. But yeah, basically, he's got the power to possess people, but he's
gonna lock eyes
alive. Yeah, so like, I guess what he does is he like looks at you, locks eyes, and then he transfers his consciousness into you, but then his regular body goes limp. So that's kind of a stupid
so I guess
power.
You could beat up his body while...
Yeah, you just take a stick and beat the shit out of him while he's on the ground.
Every time that he did it in the comics, it made me think like it's doing the Aquaman sound, because it shows the body leaving, and it shows like these blue line outlines of the body kind of getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it enters the other body.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, there needs to be like a sound effect of like going into the body.
Exactly. So that was weird that they like introduced this character who has similar powers to Deadman.
And Soul Nightwing's like big like, ha, I am Nightwing.
Yeah. It was just weird. Yeah. Because
it was
Nightwing,
weirdly done.
I mean, this is the original Robin. This is Dick Grayson. He deserves a 1-page spread at least. Maybe even a 2-pager if he's fighting or something, know, when they reveal it. But yeah, this reveal was him walking down a catwalk of stairs or whatever. And, it looked awkward and weird, and it was only a half page. So bad on you, George Perez. But yeah, so then, like we said, we go back to the like main story is, okay, so Jericho and Nightwing go to rescue the Teen Titans from Hive, who have now been delivered by Slade or Terminator and Terra, and then they all fight, and then they find out that Terra is evil, but no one believes it, even though it's very obvious that she is fighting them right now. They're like, not Terra. Even Beast Boy's like, no, she can't be one of them. She's with us. And then she like totally beats the fuck out of Beast Boy and everything.
She's like, I hate you. Beast Boy, I never liked you.
It was all an act. I fucking hate you. He's like, no, but we kissed. She's like, it was disgusting, and you taste like ass or whatever. You're like,
you're an animal, literally.
Yeah, I felt actually bad for Beast Boy in this, because he just couldn't get it in his mind that she did not actually like him, because she kissed him, and that's all that you need to know. At one time, she kissed you. Therefore, she loves you for eternity.
She loves you.
She's basically
I sympathize with that too, because I'm sure like the first time a girl kissed me, I was like, oh, she's in love with me. Yes, we are going to be together forever.
Sure every guy's had that, for the most part, if you've had a relationship when you're younger, you get that feeling of like, we're going to be together forever.
Ooh,
it's your first love. Hell yeah.
That just plays like automatically.
Yeah, of course. And so, Beast Boy wouldn't believe it, but it's true. She's the bad person. And then like she's beating all of them pretty handedly. I mean, no one's really getting the better of her, especially with Slade kind of helping her. And then but then Jericho does the move that really throws Terra off, and he takes over his dad's body as Terminator, and so now he's fighting her, and she's like, "What? I thought we were lovers." And then like she's got to fight him, and it's like this whole thing where she feels betrayed. So then she like kind of when she figures out what's going on, she's like, "Oh my God, I hate all of you. I just want to die." And so she like brings down the roof, but actually ends up only killing herself. And then for some reason, and me and John were talking about this, we don't understand why, she is given a fucking hero's funeral and marker like she was actually a hero on the Teen Titans.
Always remember this glorious Teen Titan. Yeah, like, so her brother shows up.
And her brother is apparently, what was he in?
Geostorm?
Yeah, his name's Geostorm, but he was in, I don't know, The Outsiders or some other group. I can't remember what it is. But like some other side group that's not really important. But he's an actual hero. And he was like, I thought, oh, maybe they had to like pretend for him, like for his sake, that she was a good person. But in the funeral, like they're like, "Yeah, I'm sorry about your sister." He's like, "Yeah, it's fine. I didn't really know her that well, and like we had different parents anyway, so like it doesn't matter." Like basically, the dads were all different for the kids of this mom. So he's like, "Yeah, our dads are different, so I didn't really know her," and blah blah blah. And they're like, "Oh,
so whatever.
So why did we do this whole fucking?"
Yeah,
funeral?
but she's got this like elaborate tombstone.
Yeah,
It's,
like
got
marker
her bust on it, and they're like, "Oh, Terra,
truly, you were one of the greats."
Yeah, it was a weird ending. The only thing that I did really enjoy, as far as like, because I didn't know Deathstroke very well, I like that we got a little bit of his backstory. Like that we got, like the side stuff about him being in like Vietnam and Korea and stuff. We're like, well,
oh yeah, that was okay. I did like that you got some backstory on him,
but I like that you found out like, because like he's really old, but he's like super strong still and whatnot. I guess you found out that he like was in part of an experiment too, and he got these extra, I get basically
injections
like,
of adrenal glands or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, oh, he got some chemicals and that made him kind of super.
Yeah, he's like super agile, super strong. So I mean, that was kind of cool because I like you said, I've seen the suit, and I know that he's like an assassin ninja-esque kind of character, and that's about all I knew. So like that was a nice to get a little bit of that, and I like his like he kind of looks like an old Southern gentleman outside.
Yeah, he looks like Colonel Sanders.
Kinda,
with an eye patch.
So that was kind of it was neat little things like that. But
who apparently likes 15-year-old girls.
Yeah, that was weird.
Very, very odd. I don't know. He's a bad guy, so like I said, I guess we're not surprised that he sleeps with 15-year-old girls or like grooms them to like be part of his plans, but also fucks them or whatever. Yeah. So that's weird.
Oh, when we find out why Jericho can't talk, so Jericho got his throat slit.
Because he got kidnapped by some guys that were trying to get even with Slade, basically. So like Slade kills them, but in the process, the son gets his throat slit, and that's why he can't talk. Just his windpipe, I guess. Yeah. Or whatever. So that's why he can't talk. And that's it.
And that's it.
So not a very good comic as far as story goes. There's a lot of stuff that could have been cool in this. You could even play up on the angle. Nowadays, you probably could even more of like Slade being a real creeper, like grooming this 15-year-old kid instead of having her just be a psychopath or whatever. Like having him like really corrupt her mind and make her like evil or like corrupting her and making her like not only grooming her to be his foil for the Teen Titans, but also grooming her to be like his lover or whatever. You could be a real creepy story.
You could have done something a little more with that. If they had made him,
I don't think they could back then, though. They couldn't really push that. But I think now if you redid the story, you could really do some creepy shit with that.
Rewrite the Judas Contract now, and
me and John are going to rewrite it, actually. We had some good story ideas for this, so I think we could do a better job writing this one. I don't know.
For the time, I mean,
I guess it was standard for the time. But.
For the time, it was standard. I mean, definitely things were a little more drawn out, and the whole the beginning 3-part with
intro.
Yeah, we didn't even mention, but I did like the character names of Brother Blood and was it?
Yeah, before Hive, there was another group called like the Blood Syndicate. Or I don't know. I'm sorry, not the Blood Syndicate. That's a different whole fucking thing. they were like the Church of Blood or something like that.
Yeah, and the leader was Brother Blood, and his suit was weird, but
yeah, and they also wanted to kill the Teen Titans, whatever.
And there was I guess the cult leader before he like was arisen was it Madam
Mayhem?
No.
Mother Mayhem.
Mother Mayhem, that's what it was. Mother Mayhem. And I was like, oh, that's a cool name. And then I was like, oh, but she's never in this again. Yeah. Oh, well. I mean, they could have just as easily taken that stuff and like that had been who was
just
trying
instead
to
of having Hive, just have Mother Mayhem take over and make her the bad guy.
Yeah, and like the contract, like they still could have all had that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of a jumble sometimes.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And then a lot of, why are we watching them train? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like one of the whole, like I get that we're seeing.
Like I don't need to watch Batman lift weights. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I get it. He's strong. Unless it's like his origin story or something, you know, but I don't need to see him like doing calisthenics and like walking on logs for balance or some shit. I get it.
Yeah, so like it feels like a filler content for like, I get that we're trying to also establish that maybe like their team and they like to work together.
I think that's what it was. Is I think before this Terra wasn't a thing. So like they're trying to show her working with the team and how it works
a little bit, but
together.
then it shows like all of your stuff. It's like, okay, Cyborg strong, and like he's like, oh, I'm gonna lift this thing, and then like I think Wonder Girl and Starfire are like, we're gonna like, and this doesn't make sense for either of their characters really.
Yeah, we're gonna stick fight on this pond or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like whoever falls in the water, has to do the dishes. I don't know.
Has to rub oil on Dick Grayson.
Something. Yeah.
So, also, they kept saying Dick a lot, which was funny because it's Dick Grayson. There was a lot of Dick jokes you could have thrown in there. I thought that would have been funny, especially in context of all the like budding sexuality that everybody had in this. Except Cyborg, he was not sexual at all.
No, Cyborg was the only non-sexual character.
Yeah, I don't know. They should give him a sexual story arc in one of these comics sometime.
Yeah, nobody once said, "Oh man, Starfire, you really like Dick, huh?"
Yeah, they literally did say that a couple times. You're really in love with Dick, aren't you, or whatever? And I was like, oh my god, this is just like that's just like Arrested Development when they're I'll take a chubby in the mouth. It's just like, oh man, don't say that. Stop saying that. But yeah. So on that note, what would you give this one, John?
I really, you know me, I tend to like, I like everything. I didn't really enjoy this one as much as I thought I would going into it. I was like, oh, Teen Titans, this will be cool. And I was like, after reading, I was like, I don't know if I really want to read another Teen Titan. I don't really.
Yeah, this makes me not want to read Teen Titans again.
Like, honestly, I will read a newer Teen Titan, and I think maybe that's part of it. And I feel bad because I know I've read older stories that I really enjoyed too. This just was not one of my favorites. I'm gonna give it. So the art was still good though. Everything was solid. There was, the introduction of Nightwing was cool. His suit was goofy and fun. We did say that some of the characters were voluptuous, and we did say, Raven looked like a progressively aging old woman,
105-year-old woman.
Yeah. She started at 65, and by the end, she's like 105. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably I'm struggling. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Really? I'm gonna give this. This is getting a 3. This is like barely readable. Like I said, there was a couple things that once I got to it piqued my interest. Like when Dick Grayson starts doing detective work, and like we get to see how he captured all of the Teen Titans, and then like, that's pretty much it. Like, okay, like that, and then like the reveal of Nightwing. I was like, oh, cool. Like I didn't know that's how Robin gave up his power. I didn't know that Robin did a strip show when he was giving up his mantle or whatever. That was. I'm not gonna be Robin anymore, so I'm like too sexy. If he was this could have been a prank. This is exactly what I would do. This if I was rewriting this comic, I would have Robin be like, hold on a second, guys, I gotta go do something, and then another person that looks like Dick come out in his Robin costume and start being like, I have a story to tell you, or I have something to tell you guys, and then do like a strip tease. And they're like, what's going on? And then like him being like, strip show, joking, but actually Robin's giving up his mantle. And that's why I took off all my clothes. Like it's ridiculous that he does that. So like in front of everybody. And Starfire should be jealous personally. But all these other girls are looking at him and everything. So, but yeah, It's a 3. I fell asleep multiple times. I was skipping pages. Even when we read Hush, I remember saying, I didn't skip any pages. I just wanted it to get to the point. But I still felt like everything was fine to read or whatever. This, I skipped pages. I would look ahead pages and go, what's on the next page? Do I have to skip that too? Like, I was like, get to the fucking point. And it was terrible. I mean, the art, like you said, parts of it were okay. But Raven looked ridiculous. The whole fucking, I don't know. I could not get past most of this. So only because there's a couple points that were like interesting is it not a 1. But this to me was a 3.
Okay, so I was being generous because I also have a hard time. Like I was like, they tried though, and I didn't want to be bad. So
we're not talking to Marv Wolfman or George Perez.
Okay,
like, you know.
Okay.
This is for people who want to read a comic.
I'm gonna take my 5 back and give it a 4.
A 4. Okay.
I'm gonna give it below the midway point because you're right.
Yeah.
It's nowhere.
It was nowhere near as good as Batman Hush was.
It is not a solid like read through. Like you can enjoy. No,
Batman Hush is at least that is our midpoint. This is our 5-star comic where we go. Okay, it wasn't the best, but it was fun to read, and it was perfectly readable.
That's true. Batman Hush was enjoyable.
Yes.
It was a fun
We had issues with it, but it was fun to read.
This was not fun to read.
No, this was not fun to read. It could be written so much better. In fact, if I was at DC, I would have a good writer, like Jeff, I don't know, someone you like. I'm not going to name any names because people don't like certain people. But like, if you have someone write a better version of this comic again, and just be like, here's Judas Contract redone or redux or something.
Yeah.
And just like redo it, just like they do with movies, you know, like, we didn't like that Superman movie. Let's just redo it in 10 years or whatever. So, yeah, this was, oh man, so hard to get through.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did they rewrite origins of them? Like, yeah, if this is like supposed to be like an old,
yeah, like if you're going to have Rebirth in DC, then rebirth the Judas Contract as part of the Teen Titans story.
Yeah, because the story idea is a solid idea.
Yes.
And it's cool. But
it was just executed terribly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I this is a 3 for me, a 4 for John. On that note, if you next week we're going to be reading hopefully a better comic. It's going to be Genius, which we read the first half of the first book of this a couple months, like I don't know, in February.
Yeah,
Black History
Month.
So,
yeah, because this is Mark Bernardin's comic.
Yes, this is Mark Bernardin's comic. This is the second volume of it called Cartel, and
I liked the first part actually.
Yes, I did too.
It was a lot of fun.
So it's definitely a more mature comic, but it's good.
It is, and it's kind of poignant with some of the things going on. Like obviously, it's not like indicative of what is going on, but it definitely like you can see how like like there's some similar things.
It touches on social issues,
definitely for sure.
So if you guys want to read beforehand and then like hear our thoughts on it, or if you just want to hear us spoil the fuck out of it, just do that too. So on that note, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email us at planestrains@comicbooks, all one word, @gmail.com.
And don't forget to check out our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube content for our YouTube channel, I should say, for exclusive content. We've got some of our hardcover reviews on there, statue reviews. We've got some cool stuff coming up for the spooky month of October.
Ooh. Anyway, we'll see you later.
On the next one.
Bye. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that episode.
If you did and you'd like to follow us on social media, our Facebook is Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, and our Instagram is @Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more recommendations to add to your weekly pull list.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.